You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of Sketch Up on Thursday night on The Experience. We've got a special lineup today. We've got Ethereal Comics, Dustin Brunel, and April Reyna. And stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we'll get into them. Hello, guys.
Good evening.
How's it going?
We've got Dustin Brunel. You see him there. And
Dustin.
Mog next to me, and April Reyna. She's working on a If It Hops blank sketch cover. What do you want to start that out for the bidding, April?
30.
$30?
I don't know. Is that too much?
It's
gonna be full color.
What you feel is comfortable for you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with starting at 30.
Okay, so
What do you
she's
do
starting with hers at 30. And where's your piece, Mog?
This one.
Okay, well, there's that's something else. But what we have.
Oh, this one. Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
This one.
This
neat.
one here.
You cheated. You started early.
Yeah, she did.
I cheat.
She did cheat.
Oh,
Okay.
Total cheater.
But anyway, so the starting bid on that one is going to be $150,
Okay.
and so we have those two things going. And then one of the things that we're doing special tonight is we're going to be doing a remark on this Dark Angel figure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we're gonna start this one pretty low. Okay, so and Mog is doing a remark. She may not finish it tonight, but whoever gets it, it will be finished, of course,
I think
before
I'll start with
we
this.
ship it out. Right, and the starting bid on that is 25. So our remarks and she's doing a black and white one, and those usually start at 35. So we're starting at low on that. That's basically just covering the shipping on that.
All right.
But yeah, okay. So let's get on here. We have, like I said, we have Dustin Brunel and April Reyna, and Dustin is the publisher for Ethereal Comics, and it's a company that's coming on really strong, right? It's only like 2 years ago, I believe. Is that correct? That you started, and you only had like 3 titles?
Yeah, we had. So when I started, I was publishing for other people.
Right.
And then we started Ethereal. It was about 2 years ago, like literally just it like 2 years. And we started with The Listener, and we had Greed, and we had Babes Growing Dinosaurs. And I think it was a team of like 20 of us, like total.
Okay.
Now we're at 15 IPs and 54 team members right now.
That's some phenomenal growth.
It's pretty wild.
Are you experiencing any issues with that, or what's your biggest concerns now? With
I don't think. I mean, it's normal now, right? So before I got into comics professionally, I ran a group for the government, and I had like 150 people that worked for me there. So I'm pretty used to working with large groups. So when it came to this, I was very grateful that I'd had that experience, and I was used to payrolling, and I was used to handling amounts of people, time off, all that jazz, and so this is normal stuff. It's become like a normal company. Like you would go to day-to-day work like you would anywhere else. Now it's just the stuff that normally happens. People get ill, family members get ill, people, stuff happens. Their cars break down or whatever, and it's normal stuff. I don't have any like overarching clouds. I think the biggest thing that has happened was like recently one of our talent has had some health stuffs go on, and they won't be able to work on a project. So I have to find a new artist for the project. But those are things that are, acts of God. So I really don't, I don't stress stuff like that. because with the amount of work that we all put in, you know, Mog included, the amount of work that we put in, we just, you know, we have enough stuff to cover if anybody's ever ill or sick or anything like that and can't work for a little bit. We just slide another book in the spot, you know, because right now there are literally, April, 5 books in production right now?
I think we got more than that, actually.
Is it?
Pretty sure. I mean, we got Listener and Greed and Fallen Leaves and BGD, If It Hops, Cretaceous,
Underland.
Underland, yeah.
Underland, yeah. We've
So
got
there's
Frog
at
Legs.
any given point.
Frog Legs, yeah. No, actually, Frog Legs is done. It's just, like the colorist is working on it, but I mean,
yeah, that one's. I think that's live right now and killing right now. So that book is basically complete. But the only things that we have, like right now in the pipe, you've got the Listener, and you know, you've got Greed coming up. There's always 5 or 6 projects going at once. All I know is I get the sheet that says I need to pay X amount of people. You know, that's generally how it works. I get the document that's like so and so has to be paid. You know, and I'm like, oh, right on. You know, and I go down my Excel spreadsheet of how many people I have to pay, and that's basically how it works. Other than that, I write, and now I'm very, very grateful that it's turned into a normal-esque company, because now we have people with actual positions and job titles and so on and so forth that handle different areas, and I don't have to wear so many hats or juggle so many plates.
Right, yeah, because you've got a lot of people under you now. How does April fit into all this?
April is like the boss behind the scenes, right? She's like that.
So she's like your right arm person.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know, between April and Blade and Hunter, I'm very, very grateful for the two of them, because she handles the documentation side of things, and she works with the colorists and stuff. And then you've got Bladen over here, and Bladen handles all the art, like all the art. You know, he does all the edits, he does all that stuff. So it's really cool to see, you know, like if a piece of art comes in, I'm not even allowed to see it anymore until it's done. You know, it's funny because like,
Why?
I'm still not used to that. So, and there's still people that have, you know, that come in and they're like, oh, I got to send Dustin the artwork.
Yeah,
but
now
he's all I'm like, not
oh
even
yeah, that looks great, and it's like, no, that don't look great. So he's not allowed to do that no more.
Yeah, I'm real nice, you know. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, and they're like, no, the anatomy's off, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just be quiet and let you guys handle that, because, you know, whatever.
Or they send it through WeTransfer, and he's like, no. Oh
my gosh, WeTransfer is the bane of my existence.
I love WeTransfer. I hate that you don't love it.
I love it.
You have a terrible filing system.
I do have a terrible filing system. That's why I don't do it anymore.
Yes.
It's really good. WeTransfer is like downloading for dummies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It is, right? Until you realize you're the guy that can't remember what you had for breakfast, and you're like, where'd I put that file? And I can't download it again because it's got a time limit on it.
Yeah, they have like a 2 weeks time limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
7
So
days.
I'm like, oh well, you know, I'm real glad April keeps up with that.
No shit.
Know, but
so Stevie B is asking, who handles the Comics R Us warehouse behind Dustin that we see behind you?
Yeah.
Wow. Not a warehouse.
So there are 200 more long boxes downstairs. This is just ethereal stuff up here, basically. You know,
what's downstairs? Your personal collection?
I'm trying to move it all up here, but it takes time, and
it's a lot of stairs.
Yeah, it's like 25 steps to go from my first floor to my second floor, so it's kind of ridiculous to carry long boxes up.
Yeah, dude, that's incredible that you're moving it all.
I'm trying. Well, that's because I love my wife, and my wife's tired of seeing all the long boxes in places, so she's like, "Move it up," and I'm like, "Yes, ma'am."
I don't know, man. It kind of looks like you're ready to get a little warehouse or something, or a little self-storage place.
I'm thinking about it. We got a lot of plans going. Next year, there's going to be a lot of growth for Ethereal. that you guys are going to see that's very different than things that we've talked about now.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for property right now. Actually, I'm trying to buy 15 to 45 acres here in Tennessee. So, we got a lot of stuff that's, on the docket of insanity for me to take care of. So,
Mhm.
man, you can't send me amazing stuff like that when I'm looking at. I get art all the time. Like I get it's ridiculous. It's great, but like if somebody will send me something and I'm like, oh, piece of candy. You know what I mean?
You were telling me
Look.
one time, but the last time I think when we had a long conversation,
Mhm.
about how you were able, or these guys were coming to you, these artists
Mhm.
that were coming from like heavy metal and so
Mhm.
forth. So who do you have?
Gabriel is working with heavy metal now. Claudio works with heavy metal. You've got a bunch of cats that came from Zenoscope that work with us. We've got a bunch of cats from Marvel, DC. I mean, I don't really even.
Dan Kemp and
Dan
David
Kemp.
Combo.
Yep, David. I mean, you've got Devin Massey, which is huge for us. Devin does all the Cave Woman stuff.
Zach
Are they?
Atkinson was working
Are
with
you?
DC.
Are you hunting them down, or are they coming to you?
No, I don't hunt anybody down.
So they're coming to you.
You guys were the first outside of y'all, because we had talked before. I've rarely gone out and looked for an artist.
Wow.
A lot of things. I'm finding that people want stable work. You know what I mean? They want the monthly paychecks. They want the real job. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
People have gotten tired of hunting, and people are tired of contracts where they're not getting paid, they're not getting taken care of. They want a place where they can be comfortable and they can be happy and they can grow.
Mhm.
And I'm happy to be that place. I'm happy to grow with people. I had like I mentioned Devin a minute ago. Devin Massey has said the nicest things, but one of the things he said is, it's a safe place for an artist to be. You know what I mean? We get to work the way we want to work. We're not, we don't get beat up. We don't, our deadlines are real clear and stuff. So, we don't ask for a bajillion different edits. It might be a edit or small edits, but that's about it. We let people do their own work.
Right. So you allow them their own creativity,
Basically.
without really telling. Because I know, like when you come to us and stuff, and we do the covers for you,
Yeah.
you don't really give us much. You just tell us
No.
like what the title is, and we
Have a
pretty much
good
just, like,
time.
do our own. Yeah.
That's it, man. Like I love Mog's cover. Like I absolutely love Mog's cover. We talk
thank
about
you.
it a lot.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Well, I joke about, and you'll hear me say it whenever you guys listen to me talk or anything, in groups of people, or I'm talking it in front of art students or anything. I talk about low hanging fruit a lot.
Mhm.
And if we allow people to constantly go for the low hanging fruit, they will. So all we do is we'll ask, hey, look, don't go the easy route. Think of something different. Like I love the concept of her face being in the background, behind Bastion. That Celine concept is absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, absolutely. It's beautiful. So when we do these things, we look at like the artists, and nowadays April, as we've gotten larger, April sends this really nice little document out, and she's like, hey, what do you like to draw?
Mm,
What do you enjoy drawing?
like that.
And so then we go forward and we're like, well, this project may fit you. These may not, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think it's a very powerful way to work with people because it lets them work to their strengths. And if they're working to their strengths, you're getting the best product you can get.
Yeah, exactly.
We also like to do
something about art. It's hard to really lie in a way.
Yeah.
I think if you get to a level of skill level where you're good, you can still do great art.
Mhm.
But if you can always tell if the artist really likes it, they hit their comfort zone or something, then
Absolutely.
that piece always stands out more than anything else. So yeah.
Right on. And that's it, right? We giving you guys the opportunity to do what you want and not stifle creativity is something that no one stifles mine, right? Like I get in and I write what I want, how I want, and that's it. And I
Exactly.
feel like, except for April, she comes in and gives me these edits, and she's pretty brutal with me sometimes now. But there's when you look
Sorry.
at things like that, though, being able to give you guys the freedom to do what you want, it also makes you it creates a positive workforce, a happy workplace. You know what I mean? Where you can be like, oh man, this is dope. I enjoy this. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. You know what I mean? So it's whatever.
Exactly.
And I find that if we push covers, like very rarely, like we have a couple artists that I do the covers on. I design the covers for them.
Yeah.
Not very many, but we have a few, and it's just as much fun for them. But some people like that certainty. They want the certainty, whereas other people have never been able to come out of that zone. They've never been given the freedom to do what they want to do. So it's just like, hey, cool. I love it. You know, we do a thing right now where you guys are all able to ask April for a template. It's free, the template. You get the template and you guys can use any of the ethereal characters you want for prints, blank covers, you know what I mean? Anything like that for nothing. You know, it's just something that we enjoy seeing your creativity and your growth with the characters that you work with on a monthly basis. You know, now it's like the more you draw, let's talk like if you look at April right now with Agent C for that If It Hops cover, the more you draw Agent C, the better at Agent C you're going to be.
Yep.
You know, so that's how I view it. You know what I mean? And if you make extra money as a member of Ethereal off the brand, by all means, make money. It makes me happy to hear it. You know, when we do store exclusives, like we just got a new store exclusive today for Blade and Hunter, right? So he's doing the store exclusive. He gets paid for all of it. He gets all of that. I don't take any of that. You know what I mean? There's this concept where you once asked me how I do it, and I do it in a way that it makes it reasonable and feasible for everyone involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never tried to be rich. I've never needed to gain. You know, I'm very blessed with my life. I'm very grateful. So, I mean, if I can build with people together, that's the way we're going to do it. I mean, like I said, I worked a job for the state. We won't go into that or what it entailed, but it was, I had people that I had to trust to make sure that I came home alive to my wife every night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, that's I go into this business the same way. I want you to feel comfortable knowing that I've got your back every day, you know, and I feel the same way. You know, if I wasn't comfortable with people, I wouldn't work with them.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's about building the relationships, but the model that you're building is really different from what everybody else is doing. You're really open-ended.
Exactly.
Many of the publishers will allow us to make prints of their characters for a limited amount only. Okay, but you're like totally open-ended.
Do it.
Totally different from how many of the other companies are doing that. Like take for example Disney, who wants like total control. There's not much room that you can do with any of their characters. Understandable that they've built their market
for sure,
and they want to try and protect it. But
absolutely,
when you compare that to like other models, like the Japanese with their manga, that kind of also have an open market, and we see that it hasn't really hurted much at all. I don't believe it has.
I don't think it's harmful.
No, it's actually perpetuated their brand, their product,
for sure,
and their IPs.
Well, look at it like this. If you go into a show, let's say we'll use roll down banners for examples, right? So if you go to a show and you've got a roll down banner and it's this beautiful cover that you did, right? It's this beautiful cover that you did for Ethereal or whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. So you've done this beautiful banner and it's let's say it doesn't even say ethereal. You know, it says Mog Park on it, and it's got Celine from Frog Legs on it. All right.
Mhm.
So somebody's going to go, man, who is that? Who is that character? And you're going to be, oh, that's Celine from Frog Legs. You know, that's ethereal. We work with them, da-da-da-da. Can I grab one of those? Sure. I might have a couple copies, or I don't have a couple copies, whatever the case may be at the time. And then you go, well, I can get you one. You know, I can tell you where to go or whatever else. That's a win for everybody. That's not a, you know, same thing with like right now when we start putting out the new way that we're doing blank covers. All right. When we start doing the new wave of blank covers and everything that we're going to start setting out, and everybody comes in and they're like, hey, look, I'm going to get a few of them. So it's $3.75 cost for a blank cover, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I charge the team $3.75 for a blank cover. You know, that's, if you guys want them, tell me how many you want, and that's what we do. We order them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, and I don't charge you extra because that's stupid. So if you want them, you just tell me and I get them and yada yada. I don't need to make money off those books. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing with original art. I have no urge to go into a conversation and be like, hey, can I get the original art? I don't have the urge for that, because you worked very hard on that. That's something you worked very hard on. And if you can turn around and make something, like, let's say you make $600 off an original art piece from a cover, right? Let's say you make 600. I'm so proud of you for making 600 that I don't care. You know, I'm excited that you made that. You know what I mean? Because then I can go, look what we're helping people do. This is a real job. They're coming out and they're making, some of our guys make $2,000 a month right now. You know what I mean? And it's most of those are interior guys because they're killing 24, 25 pages a month. You know what I mean? But it's like, but it's a full-time job for them. They don't need but so much else, especially guys that live in, gals that live in certain countries. That's their livelihood. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to be able to be like, hey, look, we're employed together. We're working together. Let's continue. You know, April mentioned David Acampo earlier, and I've been working with David for almost 4 years. Sounds crazy now, but almost 4 years. And
Yeah.
Every time we put something out together, it's together. Just like every time we put out a cover with y'all, it's together. And that's something that I hold to a very high standard, and I'm very proud of it. You know what I mean? When we go to a show, like if you went, like you guys were in Vegas, when you saw us in Vegas,
Right.
I wasn't selling anything in Vegas. I was talking about everybody else that was there at the tables, you know what I mean? And to buy the books from them. I literally went with short boxes for each artist and was handing them books the entire weekend, because that's just, that's how I want to do things. That's how it makes me happy to do stuff.
Because your luggage got busted
Oh my
up.
God, they destroyed my luggage.
Thank God he didn't have
Oh my gosh.
a long box in there.
They
it's
like
not
threw
the
my
same.
bag.
Yeah.
Like they had to have thrown my bag. And it was like 125 pounds. They had to have thrown it.
Oh,
Yeah,
crap.
it doesn't matter how much you spend on those bags or those luggages, right? If those guys are going to mishandle it, it's going to get broken. I mean, I've been to shows where, you know, the artist just bought a brand new suitcase and used it for that trip that we were, you know, show that we're on, and they, first of all, they don't get it that day. For some reason, it's missing, but they eventually the airlines gets it to them, and it's cracked. It's busted. It's not usable. Well, you know, they'll try to tape it up because you don't got time to go shop for one. You're doing this show, and your plane is taking off. So, you know,
I was upset.
Strap it up and suck it up, and yeah.
That's it.
Now, for like suitcases, right? I don't want to buy them brand new. So hey, I'm going to those thrift stores and I'm looking at them and I'm going, okay, this one looks like it'll last me a year maybe, because that's about what they're good for.
Yeah, like secondhand stores just to get luggage. I'm about it, man, because it's crazy.
But we've been we've been traveling doing these shows now for a good like 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
And the number of suitcases that we've gone through, ridiculous, right?
I
and
couldn't
we're
believe
buying
it.
them brand new. I go, shit, how much do I got to spend? 100,
Right, on luggage. I'm looking at my taxes and I'm like $400 in luggage this year. Like, what is going on?
And these things are supposed to last a whole lot longer, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you don't get
Pelican
it.
cases get
what
a
happened to that?
lifetime guarantee.
Yeah, right.
Okay, there's that too, right? So I've done that. I've kept the receipts and that sheet of paper that says it's got a lifetime guarantee, and I stick it inside the suitcase. Right, so that way I know,
Right.
Okay, right. Try filing one of those.
Yeah, that actually works. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you did this, sir. You put too much weight in it, or you did this, and now it doesn't work. And you're just like,
the limit is 50. That's all the airlines is going to allow you for.
Yeah.
And you said can handle more than that, and.
Well, I mean, that's something that we're trying to take into account, and we're planning for a bunch of new things, because I can't, 2 years ago it was cool to get a table or 2 tables, it's like, again, when I go to a show because I want to promote y'all. That's what I want to do. You know what I mean? I don't go to a show to make money, because I mean, if we're being honest, I make as much money staying home as I do at a show. You know what I mean? There's no point in going to shows unless I'm promoting the artists. You know what I mean? And which is the most fun in the world, let me tell you. Because when people walk by and they're like, "Look how beautiful this is," or look at that, and you're just like, it's phenomenal. So right now I'm trying to figure out how I can start doing those, like the big giant things at shows. Those are what I'm working on, so we'll see if we can't get those situated for people and stuff, so they can come.
We'll be working with you on that. Just to let everybody else know that we do have a working relationship with
absolutely
Justin and It's Real Comics, so you can look for us to be
man, you guys can find the entire Mog and Mel crew in our books, man. So
all right. And on that note, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back talking to Dustin and April from Eat the Real Comics.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rocket Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
You know how when you go to Comic-Con, after Comic-Con, you go to the hotel bar, and there's a whole bunch of people playing music and dancing, and you've got Pikachu and Lara Croft Tomb Raider doing the cha-cha slide just down from Deadpool and Batman and Wonder Woman? That's every Saturday night over on the Experience Twitch channel. Join Taji Beats for the EXP Dance Party, exclusively on Twitch, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Go follow The Experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Welcome back to SketchUp. Tonight's guest is Dustin Brunel and April Reyna for joining us from Ethereal Comics. Thank you, Stevie B, for that opening bid on the Sin City Remark that Mog is doing. We are taking bids in increments of $5. April is working on a blank sketch cover if it hops, looking pretty good and tight there. She's asking for a opening bid of $30 to start, so jump on that. That's pretty cheap to me. And then Mark has another piece that she's working on for the Babes and Dinosaur piece. So you can take a look at that. If you want to bid on that, the opening bid is $150. So Dustin, with the all the titles that you have, are you the only person that's writing all that?
So I write 15 of the 17 IPs that we have.
So far that you have so far.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how do you manage to do all of that? Because that's a lot of stories to keep track of.
I work a lot. Like I work a lot of hours. So when I worked for the government, I probably worked 65 hours a week. When I owned a comic shop, I probably worked 80. I probably work about 80 now. You know what I mean?
How long do you sleep?
So I'm being medicated. I don't sleep very much.
Yeah.
So I might catch 3 or 4 hours, and then it's not great. But I'll take my daughter to school, come home. You know, my son will be in his classes and stuff. So, my wife's working, so there's nothing else I'm doing anyway. So I may as well be working. You know what I mean?
I thought it would be easier too. I came from a corporate background in IT, and I was there's times you're salary, right? So you don't get paid extra.
Right.
I'm putting in 80 hours a week, and I'm going, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I decided to get into this business, and I'm thinking, it's going to be easier. I can put in 10 hours a week. I mean, 10 hours a day, going 50. I'm putting over 100 hours a week.
Yeah. No, the other night, I put a post up about working on I think I was talking about working on Underland or something, and I ended up spending I think I was on Underland that night for 6.5, 7 hours after I posted that. And I am very particular about what we put out, the content, all of it. So when I sit down, I tell my kids and my wife night or whatever at 4, if I'm going to, I'll be working upstairs or I'll be working in the office, wherever I'm sitting at. And because the time just goes, it just disappears while you're sitting there at a keyboard or whatever you're doing. And I'll probably spend 60 hours per issue on a story that I'm putting out. I think that it's one of those things where you're you go into it thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be real simple. I got this, you know what I mean? And then you get down to it and you're well, Frog Legs, for example, which is live on Kickstarter right now. Mog has a beautiful cover we were just talking about on there. I'm in love with that cover.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've got a couple of our other artists on there. You've got
man.
and
oh my
Louis
gosh.
Bravo. So
Anvu's cover on that book is mind blowing. It's just, I don't care if you're colorblind. It's if you look at this cover and it's just, there's something, it has this real old school dirty South vibe to it. And and it's funny because she's never lived in the South, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
no.
so she got this real deep South vibe in this cover, and I loved it. But so for Frog Legs though, I spent much more time than I normally spend on a book, because when I found out that everybody's favorite Cajun Gambit, his the way he talked was BS. I was well, I can't put out a comic book about people speaking Cajun or Creole or anything if it's not authentic. So I was watching classes and taking online courses to make sure that I got this dialogue right, because it's like speaking Spanglish. You want to make sure that you're saying it correctly when you're when you're using these characters, because you want to be respectful to these characters that you're creating, and their backgrounds and their faiths or their religions or their creeds, whatever. You want to be respectful to all of that. And no, I spent a lot of time on Frog Legs, and you can tell because it's fun. I've never written I'd say I'd never written like an actual love story before this one. But it's a really good time. Like it really is. All our books are mature titles. I say mature, but there's like all of our books are tasteful. I'll put it that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like pornography. All our books are tasteful, but they are for adults, and they're a lot of fun. I love that cover. Oh my gosh, every one of them that came out for this book. I don't think there was a single one where I was like, because every now and then I'll catch one and I'll be like, okay, that's all right, But this book has some really, really great covers, and Lewis came out with a good banger for this one too, so I was happy with that. Lenadai's cover, it was stunning for this one, and we definitely can't show that one online, but it was really, really pretty. You laugh, but it's pretty. And
no judgment. It's gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah.
No, we thank you.
Everybody had a good time working on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing it shows, and then you'll see everybody on the next cover that the crew will be working on. I think it's
what do you guys on BGD next, or what are they on next?
I think
they're on
Greed.
No, Lewis is on Greed, and then everybody's on Underland, I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I haven't sent out reference for that yet. That'll be next week or the week after.
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
And that'll be good for us, because that's going to be we've got like WonderCon next week, and then we've got Gem State the week after. So, then that will be a break before we get into Las Vegas.
Yeah. Amazing coming up already. Holy cow.
Yeah. We're doing less, but
but it's doing more, right? You're like doing less, but it's like
we're doing less cons, but we've got a lot more work.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Yeah, exactly. No, we live that life. We're literally just talking about that. I think the next big thing we want to do is Hawaii. We've got that to talk about. But other than that, I don't think
everybody right now. There's a lot of people. They may not know the promoter, but they know me. So they've been trying to figure out, okay, when is Hawaii? And I'm kind of tight with Jimmy. And but there's
another show like 2 weeks before that one this year.
Well, there's another show that's called Comic-Con Honolulu.
Yes, absolutely.
By another group, and they just released their dates that they're going to have one this year in August.
Yeah.
Amazing has not released their shows yet, and part of it has to do with the way how the contracts, how the convention center in Hawaii wants to do the contracts, and that seems to be the major hang-up.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah. So, and I think this other group was able to get in there because they have 2 events a year in Hawaii.
That's awesome.
Comics and then one for the anime. So I guess they've had like a little bit of a priority, even though Amazing Con is actually slightly bigger, I think, than the other one. Both shows are good, though.
For sure.
Yeah, both shows are good.
Well, I mean, it's got to be one of those things where it's like you got to give and take a little bit, you know what I mean, and try to give each other enough space and be respectful to one another when you're running shows.
That's the thing when you have like 2 shows. On the island, which isn't really that big.
Right. Yeah.
And that's coming from like in the 90s when people were trying to figure, well, how can we have a show in Hawaii?
Yeah.
And back then it just wasn't feasible. And now it seems like it is feasible enough that they have like 2 good sized shows running there. now the question comes up, well, how can they survive
Yeah. Well, it's so
together?
expensive, you know what I mean? Like anything's expensive. Like when we ran a show in Jacksonville, Florida, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, and it was like 425 grand, you know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you know, just to get everybody there, to get the hotel, you know, the whole nine. And I think a lot of people are learning, that like right now in comics itself it's not a get rich quick scheme. It doesn't work like that. I think
No.
that people assume it is, and then they jump into it and they're like, oh man, I don't even know how to feel, you know, like
Mhm.
I am very grateful for everything that we're involved in. And like I said, if it hadn't been for guys like Bud Roots or, you know, at the time Mike DeBalfo, or there were a bunch of people. If I didn't know so many people, I would not be where I am. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's not for lack of hard work, because there's plenty of hard work, but it's like when you go in and you don't have to hunt for artists as much. You know what I mean? You've got friends that you can be like, hey, look, do you want to work? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And eventually it turned into, like we talked about earlier, people are hunting for us versus us, you know, asking
Yeah.
friends of ours to work with us, you know. So same things with the con scene. You know, if you don't know X amount of people, who are you going to invite to your convention? You know, or if you do, let's say the gentleman I was running the show for, he wanted all these cats from the 70s and 80s, you know, and I was like, well, I don't know if that's going to be great, but we're going to do it because that's what you want, you know, and we get all these cats and they're all hanging out and stuff, but they're not drawing people. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
not bringing in folks because they're cats that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Unless you're pulling, you know, Mike Chrome, you're pulling Ebbus, you're pulling, you know, um, anybody that's, you know, going to draw attention to your show, then you're basically just pissing in the wind. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's cool to have a show. Great. That's awesome. But if you're not going to make any money, same thing with comic books. You know what I mean? It's like if you're not going to make any money, you know, I look at it like this. We support 50 something families. That's how I view it. You know what I mean? If I can't support the families, then I'm failing every one of those people, because I legitimately care about every single one of those people. So if I'm not doing what I need to do, then, or the books aren't selling like they should, we're not doing well. Frog Legs is doing exceptional right now. It's doing wonderful. We're very, very grateful. Um, I think
Yeah.
we've got like
Yeah.
12
Because you've
days.
got on Frog Legs, you're at like 11,723. You've got 191 backers, and you still
Yeah.
got 11 days to go on there.
For
And so
sure.
you've already met your goal several times, so that's good.
Yeah,
Several things that are already unlocked. And
for
so
sure.
if you guys aren't jumping on that, you should check it out and get on there. That's
You know, one thing that we do that we take a lot of pride in is if we do a certain unlock that is 6 pages additional story. It's not artwork, it's not shenanigans, it's full on written story, and you don't pay more for that. It's just, you know, we feel like that 24 pages isn't enough. You know, hey man, I'm a big fan of Piggy too, though. So, uh,
Uh,
you
that would
know,
be kind of cool if you got Miss Piggy in there.
there's a I just started working on. I was talking to April and Joseph about it the other night. Uh, I am deciding to create a pig character for If It Hops. So we'll see about how she turns out and what she's. I'm thinking like punk rock pig
Uh-huh.
type of character. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But we've got another new book coming out next week. Pre-orders go live next week for it, and that's the 4th issue of Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs, which is one of our longer running
Right.
titles.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when you came out with it. That one did exceptionally well as well.
Yeah, it did. It does. Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs. Everything does really well. with the exception of the listener, which is just my heart in a book, and it just doesn't. It's not everybody's favorite.
That's like you. Was that the first book that you put out?
It was the first book I ever put out.
That one's very dear to your heart.
It really is, but it's okay. I'll put that one on the back burner, and I'll put out the stuff because it's business too. You know what I mean? So I can't just be putting out what I want to put out all the time. So, but if you're a fan of cyberpunk, or if you're a fan of anthropomorphic stuff, Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs is a lot of fun. It is exactly what the title is. My titles are very tied to my books. If it has something to do with something in the title, you're going to get it inside the book. Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs was almost like a throwback to Blade Runner for me, and mixed with like Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Both of which have had amazing comic books,
right.
So.
But then what is interesting too is that when you came out with that, there was other artists too that came out with similar titles along that same line. But,
really?
Yeah. But let's see, who was it? I think, God, I forgot his name already. Mark, what's his name? We did the Mog. We did the cover for him.
I don't know.
Mark, God, I forgot his name. From Colorado, but he did something similar with
Mark May.
What's that?
May?
Yeah, Mark May. Yeah, I think he had like another like Babes and Dinosaur kind of like title, and then what's his name? Murat has his. God, I forget what all the titles are, but Murat has a similar title as well.
Oh, that's funny. No, I had no idea.
But,
I just
yours seems to be yours is still out there, and it's because you're on what, issue 3 now?
Issue 4 next
issue
week.
4,
Plus the trade paperback. Yeah.
There you go.
Trade paperback drops next week too. Yeah. So.
And so that's another one that you guys should check out and catch up with it. So that you're in time for that issue number 4. And on that note, we are going to take another break. This will be our second one, and we'll be right back with Dustin and April.
Ooh.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
Did you know that across America there are over 2, maybe even 3 live stream producers who can't even afford Mountain Dew? Take Brian here. Brian has gone 2 weeks without a sip of Red Bull. If it goes on much longer, he may take a shower and get a real job. Situations like this are as tragic as they are preventable. Join the experience on YouTube and gain access to special emojis and members-only streams. For less than a cup of coffee, you can keep socially awkward hermit people working from their parents' basements where they belong. Scan the QR code on the screen to join. You'll be glad you did.
What if Hans Gruber from Die Hard had to battle the Joker from Batman the Animated Series in a dance battle? Or who would win in a race between Baby from Baby Driver and Snidely Whiplash? If Austin Powers and Shrek found themselves in a hot dog eating contest, who would emerge victorious? These are the questions we talk about on Nerd Killer Warfare. Debate the most absurd questions you've ever heard in popular culture. Register now by scanning the QR code or visiting bit.ly/EXP casting.
Welcome back to SketchUp. Thanks to everybody for joining us on this Thursday night. Once again, we have Dustin Brunel and April Rena from Ethereal Comics. How's that coming along, April?
She's muted.
Is that done? Am I on
I think
mute
she's
still?
going to color it.
No, I'm getting ready to like
Oh,
bust
there's-
out my
Your
spray
handy
gun.
dandy airbrush there, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just douse it in a bunch of like neon, neon or electric blues and whatnot, and then I'm gonna go back in and tighten it up, and then I'll start rendering it with colored pencils. It's just getting started.
We're still looking for an opening bid on that for $30, and that's a bargain there, folks, because she's
Oh,
throwing in
totally.
the coloring as well. So that's a deal of a steal.
I'm actually
Just
fine
putting
if
the-
nobody does because I'm gonna keep it.
That's the thing too, is that we do this right, and we kind of hope that we not everything sells, because then it means that there's less work for us to do to put out newer work for people to see at the shows.
Right?
Absolutely.
Most of the stuff has been being bought up. So
Yes.
we have guys like Stevie B and Ilya who are
Yeah.
here all the time, and thanks Ilya
Thank
for
you, yeah.
joining
Thank you, Steve.
joining us right
Yeah.
now. But anyway, so Mog has that remark right there of Nancy Callahan from Sin City on a Dark Angel figure, right? So
Jessica Alba.
if you can see how those two are related. But we do have an
Yes.
opening bid on that of 25, and we are looking for the next bid on that. If
Yeah.
you are willing to do that,
This
that's
is
something
interesting.
that we sell. We sell that $50 at the show, so that
Yeah.
tells you what kind of a bargain
So
that
the,
you're getting right
the
there.
back of this. Oh, thank you, Leah. It's the same like this, but I colored in the window, and I put this is an homage to Frank Miller. I'm actually copying one of Frank Miller's pinup shot, so I'm not claiming that it's I
So
I
this
created
is
this.
this is a swipe homage after Frank Miller.
Yes, homage. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank
So-
you.
So we got that, and then Mog also has her Babes Gore and Dinosaur
Yes.
thing
This
that
is
she's working on
Yeah,
here.
it's gonna be
I don't
happening.
know, man. Maybe
Yeah.
Oh
we
man,
could use that as a cover.
we have another project we're working on right now
Mhm.
that is going to be super fun, and I know you guys are going to enjoy it. It's called well, it's not called Utah VD. That's what it was called originally, but it's called Cretaceous.
Cretaceous.
Yes,
Wait, say that
Cretaceous.
again.
Cretaceous, like the
Okay.
time period.
Yeah.
Cretaceous biohazard.
Oh, yeah. That does sound interesting.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Yeah, definitely not Veterans Department. You don't want that, VD. Let me tell you.
I'm already getting ideas on that new title that you just
Oh, man.
popped out.
Utah Cretaceous.
Cretaceous biohazard is something we've been hinting at with fans and stuff. So I'll
Giant
give you guys.
lobster.
Well, I'll give you guys a little bit of an exclusive into it because we really haven't talked about it much. But Cretaceous is going to be about a group of mercenaries that get sent to South America to retrieve an individual out of a compound there that the government's working on. And when they get there, there's an outbreak of sorts.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the South American government and stuff has closed down the site. They're not allowing the Americans in to get the people out or anything. It's a very volatile situation. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I think all the artists are going to have a good time with it. We've brought on a new interior artist for that book. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's very, and I only bring it up because you guys are talking about Frank Miller, but the new artist stuff, his style reminds me loosely of Mark Miller, and it's just very, very interesting what he's doing, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes because, like I said, I'm not allowed to see any pages. I only got to see the first 3, so before colors. But it looks really
Oh,
cool from what I've seen so far. I think you guys will enjoy it.
okay.
It's most of our books are very, we like you to think, because we like you to read the interiors and stuff and really get into the worlds. This is a very easy pickup. It's a very something you could pick up and enjoy it, put it down, not have to think too hard, but
Mhm.
you still had a good time with it, and later it'll get a little bit more in depth, but it's pretty fun so far.
Right. Thank you, Stevie B, for that bid on If It Hops. You've got a bid,
Woohoo!
April.
Oh,
So
right on.
Yay.
that is sold, and we are looking for the next bid on that for 35 or better. If you want that, just say If It Hops, and then with your bid.
Oh my gosh. If It Hops has a new issue coming out in the next couple months.
There you go. Yeah.
We're excited about that. That'll be issue 3 for that book.
Okay. And tell us
Um,
where the story is at with that book.
oh man, so If It Hops is like my own crime drama. I've we most of our books, well, all of our books are different types of genres. That I never want to repeat the same type of storytelling that we put out with anything else. So If It Hops is all anthropomorphic characters. If it was close to anything, it'd be kind of like Zootopia, but a very adult Zootopia.
Damn, I
Um,
like Zootopia.
I like Zootopia a lot, and but like I knew when I put out If It Hops that everybody was gonna reach for that. Are the characters? How are we gonna get to see the bunny chick? Are we gonna get to da 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 da? And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Cool, look, let's knock that out on page like 1, so you don't have to worry about it going forward." And we'll,
Suck them in early on the first page.
there you go. But
Yeah.
it was more like I wanted people to see how real I want the characters to be. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It was a very different take on um how we're already trying to pass you off on reality. We're already trying to
Oh
get
yeah.
you to look past what these characters are. And Bud Root had reached out to me and was like, "Hey, look, by page 3, I forgot I was reading about a rabbit."
Oh
You know?
crap. Okay, that's
And
That's
awesome.
good.
yeah,
That's
it was an
awesome.
amazing compliment. And
Yeah.
I have, there are real big names in the industry that buy this book. They enjoy the book, and it's probably April's favorite. Probably April's
Ah,
favorite. She's not gonna weigh in, but it's probably April's favorite.
yeah.
You know it is.
um, but there's just something about how normalized we tried to make the lives of these characters. This is they do the same thing as you do. They wake up, they shower, they brush their teeth, they go on about their day. And when we introduce Agent C, she's literally just been promoted to agent, and she's taken some time off when you find out that the killer that she was promoted for has escaped. And now they're like, well, you got to go get him. So she's come back from vacation, and she's finding out that things may not be as they appear as she's going through she's trying to catch this individual, and little by little she's finding out more and more. None of my books are for the faint of heart.
Oh, no.
None of them are. I know that we have the death of a mouse and the death of a giraffe in this issue, in the first issue.
Mhm.
But yeah, none of our books are for the faint of heart. So if you get a little squeamish, that's okay. But they're pretty rough and tumble. But the art is beautiful. Bladen Hunter is an incredible artist. He did the interiors for this, and for If It Hops and Babe Scoring Dinosaurs. We've actually got a new artist coming on for issue 3 of If It Hops, because Bladen is building the framework for a few other IPs. right now, one thing that we pride ourselves on at Ethereal is we also help each other grow.
Mm-hmm.
So Bladen is taking a couple artists under his wing right now and helping them grow their talents with a couple of our IPs. So that's exciting to see. And I mean, if you guys have seen any of Renee's stuff that we show off, Renee's covers are absolutely stunning. She's an incredible artist. And same thing with that she's working with Bladen a lot. And same thing with like Elberty. Elberty does all the interior artwork for Frog Legs. He also does cover work for us. Um, you know, Bladen works with him like religiously. They work really well together. So it's a thing where not only do we bring on people from Marvel, DC, Image, Zenescope, we also bring on folks that we see a future with, you know. And we're very, very proud of that because some of these cats are just like, you know, me when I started and I was like, well, I want to write a book. And if I had not had people go, hey, look, you can do this, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. And we've talked about bringing in like other artists, and I know I've talked to you about it, and I've asked you a few times, say, let me send some guys over your way.
Absolutely.
And I haven't forgotten. I just need to get the stuff together and
Hey, man,
over to you.
It's whenever you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are these things where like I look at things like this where when it comes to our artists, like what that's a good question. How do we find artists? We tend not to really look. It most of the time, most of our heavier hitters come from people that we've known in the industry, or one of us or other of us have known in the industry, or guys that are or gals that are coming back into the industry that know that we hire in talent. You know what I mean? So we'll, hey, look, so and so's coming in, they're looking for work, or they want to get with a new company, or da 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 da, and that's how we normally do things. But every now and then we'll do a show, and I'm not going to say that we get a lot of people that come and they want work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But every now and then there's like a diamond in the rough out of that 50 people that have dropped their business card off at a show. And I'm going to say this, and I really hope people understand and take it honestly. We don't just take your card and throw it away. When you come up to us, we keep your card. I personally keep your card, and we'll look at your portfolio or whatever you've got online, Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not reaching out to you to tell you that we don't want to work with you or anything else like that. A lot of it has to do with time. It really, really does. And every now and then, though, we'll see somebody that is really, really talented and just needs some direction. They may be raw talent, and have not had any schooling or anything. So we'll go in and we'll put them with someone, or Joseph or Bladen will put them with someone. And, it's really cool to see them develop, and they're learning their talents. And they have, we've got a gentleman now that just came out of the Kubrick School that is really, really talented, but had not had anyone give him the time of day.
Yeah.
And right now, he's smashing a couple projects for us right this second. So
Yeah, it is. It is. I know. Yeah, because we have, even though we're not a publisher, right, but we've gone through the same as well. People have approached us, and I'll give them a review. I'll give them a review on their pages, their art, and I do my 2 cents. I know I won't ever turn anybody away.
Yeah.
It's a great way also to connect and meet other artists that we can, even just to hang out with or work with. That's
absolutely.
But everything has been through the shows, right? So if you guys are listening and you're an artist trying to break in, that's one of the best ways is to meet them in person, because nothing beats a face-to-face look. We get to see you, we get to experience like how you are, and we get to see like how you work, and from there we'll stay in touch, and we'll see like how you progress. I'm working with two people now, that hardly nobody knows about. One guy is a graduate from the same school that Mog went to, the Art Institute in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And this guy's been trying to do some stuff. He's doing like some commercial work out there, but he's never done anything in comics.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring him out to Las Vegas, and then we're gonna see like how he does.
There you go.
And then
I see. I love that. I think that we're as people, right? It takes us less time to be polite to someone than it does to dismiss someone. You know what I mean? And when
Yes.
like right now, I probably get 50 applicants every 2 weeks, roundabout. That's what I tend to check. And
Yeah.
it's like, you can't go through all of them, but you still try to do the best you can. So
Yeah.
I'll reach out and I'll be like, hey, it's not for us, but it's not bad. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or
yeah,
I used
yeah.
to
You can refer them somewhere.
absolutely
Tell them, hey, work on this, or go check this out.
for sure.
Watch this video. Yeah,
Oh man, there's
yeah.
so
There's a lot of things
YouTube.
that you can tell.
YouTube has changed the game.
Oh,
I
I
didn't know.
One
Like,
used to ask me, do you think it's worth it for an artist to go to school, right? And then come out that way. And my answer then was, I think an artist does need to get that background. But now with the
Like in the last
20 years or so, with the advent of YouTube and all the
Oh, shit, sorry.
things that are coming out on there, you can
Yeah.
learn everything on your own.
I watched a video the other day about the Kirby Crackle. Like I was like, what? Somebody said something to me about it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna put a Kirby Crackle on the cover," and I'm going, "What?" So, I mean, I've been reading comics for 30-something years and never heard of the Kirby Crackle. So
You never heard of the Kirby Crackle?
So no, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this video," and I'm like, "Well, this is amazing." And then I turn around and there's another video about the reverse Kirby Crackle, and I'm like, "What is?" So you get in there and there's so much to see and so much to learn. It can be overwhelming, but it's like I look at art like cooking, right? Like I've been drawing since I was, I don't know, knee high, right? And when you get to a certain stage, you have to getting classically trained can help, and it also looks good on your. It does sound like a gymnastics move, but you can, your classically trained looks good on your resume, right? Like right now, when people apply to us, I'm like, okay, well, the first question is, have you been published? Have you ever been published? Because when we started, we would pull some folks that didn't have a pedigree to them, and nowadays it's like most of the folks to us, we don't even get indie artists much anymore. You know what I mean? It's most of the time it's people that have worked in the industry, know who we are, they want work, because once you start getting into this point where you're like, who works with you? Did you research before you applied? Like if I go to work at a job, I'm going to know what I need to know about the company before I go to apply. I'm going to be able to answer any questions they have for me before I go to apply.
Yeah, well, because one of the questions they'll ask you, do you know what our product is?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That happens more often than you would ever believe. Like, I had a conversation with a year and a half ago with Nita Lanning on a live show. Yeah. And it was about Babes Gore and Dinosaurs. It was and it was about the fact that we do a lot of female nudes. And somebody was like, do you ever and no, it was Nita herself. Have you ever done a nude male? And so for the second issue of Babes Gore and Dinosaurs, the entire issue, Ricky is nude in a bathhouse. Like the entire issue. And, it was a lot of fun because we don't show you his junk until like the last page of the book. You know what I mean? And then it's only in like a silhouette. And it was just a fun thing to do.
You teaser, you.
Did you make
sure? I'm terrible.
Dustin,
we show the size. The size.
Okay, Dustin, did you though make sure that it's like large, his thing?
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely
good job.
It's definitely large. but it's proportionate to his size. We'll put it that way. And he's like 8
Oh,
foot
that's
tall.
not large. That's not large. If it's proportionate, then that's not large.
Oh gosh. So anyway, well, hey, it's big to me.
It's
So
before April. It's before April.
oh my gosh. So but so I asked a young man that came to work, and I was like, well, have you ever drawn a dinosaurs thing before? And he was like, he was like, no, sir, I've never drawn a dinosaurs thing. And I was like, man, we need to get some more experience drawing some dinosaur things before we start talking about working, because I'm gonna need some of those. But no, it's just it's an interesting thing when people come in and they're, because you get the all different kinds of applicants, right? You get the
Yeah.
folks that are like really on it. You get your pros, you get your pedigree artists and whatnot. You get your pedigree writers. You know, we've got a writer right now that just came over from Aftershock not long ago.
Yeah.
But it's but you get these guys and gals that come in and they're like, hey, look, treasury size. We're like, Jesus. Good Lord. It's the biggin. But did they, you know, they come in and they're like, hey, look here, can you look at my portfolio, and then you're like, oh, okay, great, you know, you check it out or whatever. But then you get the folks that are like, you'll let us draw nude, right? And it's like they come in and like the air changes, like they're totally ready to come in with, you know, like we're ready for the red label already. We don't even want to work on the blue label. We're so ready for Squee After Dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're like,
as long as Playboy doesn't come back, yes, you can.
yes, that's absolutely right.
So
No,
so
that's
Dustin.
so funny.
So Dustin, you know, you like to seem to, you have like a predilection to really put a lot of gore and
Mhm.
stuff like that in. Are you like a disturbed person? And
I
and
think so.
also, do you think artists who like that, like they want to, they're like part kind of disturbed? Like, do you feel
I'll
that?
say this: if you look back, because I'm classically trained, so if you look back and you look at some of the artists that we've been studying forever, you know, oh my gosh, you even look at like Dolly. You know what I mean? There are plenty of us in the art world in the past centuries and whatever, what have you, you know, that have been doing art of destruction or of war or whatever, what have you, and they're famous. They're absolutely famous. That doesn't mean they're not batshit crazy. You know what I mean? I am as kind as they come, but I'm also I like to think that um as a kid, I liked action comics, right? I liked the action. I liked the beat 'em ups. I liked, you know, the darker side of the X-Men stuff. I liked McFarlane's Spider-Man run. I was, you know, it was always stuff that was real action packed, you know, and but I grew up with like horror movies and whatnot, you know, and you know, Aliens was a movie that was like a bedtime movie at my house, you know, because we lived on a farm, and it's not like I didn't have kids around me or anything, so I was, you know, watching movies and TV and stuff all the time, you know, when I wasn't outside in the yard working, and so it was like, as a person, when I got older, I wanted to write those stories that I enjoyed as a kid. I wanted to write the stories that people our age could appreciate. Like I am, you know, everybody asks about us writing kid stories and stuff because I've got a 4-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna write kids books?" And I'm just like, maybe at some point, if April and, you know, Joseph talk me into it, probably. But other than that, I enjoy the adult world. You know, I it's not one of those things. I have no I'm
Drawing
37.
kids is hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 37 right now. I think the
Yeah.
closest thing you can get to like a book with kids is like Greed. You know, it's we don't do any nudity or any hyper violence around the main character. You know, when Oz is in the book, you don't see that. You know, but if you patch 5 pages in, you'll catch a fight between two demons. You know what I mean? But they're not when the kid is in the panel or anything like that. And I think that we're really conscious of those things because we have children. it's something that we, or we think about a lot. But no, I don't think I'm not a violent person or anything. Like I said, I worked in a very tough job before. Or did a very tough job before getting into comics, and it,
Ah,
it
okay. Yeah.
yeah, I
You know what? I think the right word I was trying to find was repressed. Maybe repressed.
I don't think so.
Like
I don't have
like those,
any.
like you bottle up whatever desire too much, and
No,
then
I
it
don't think
turns
so.
into like fetishes or blah blah blah,
No,
or
I'm pretty normal in
anger. It
that
turns
realm.
into like something because it's so bottled up. You know?
I don't
I
think
think
so.
I think there's a constant curiosity that you get to evolve, or even you want to explore the fantastical, and you just have to find a way to kick that off. So if you really like science, or you really like health or anatomy, you can pull apart and incorporate more scientifically detailed elements, like, actual anatomy, or a real heart being pulled out of somebody's chest, or being able to play with foreshortening of I don't know, like you have a Jack the Ripper slasher thing going on. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's elements where you can go, oh hey, I've actually studied some of this, and I
Yeah,
can
I've seen dead
incorporate it
bodies, so yeah, that's cool. You're right
into,
about
yeah,
those.
into the elements. Or if you are dealing with angels and demons, and like a third or fourth realm, you might have more spiritual elements that deal with that, or actually believe in that. So you can make it far more, I don't know, you can exceed those expectations quickly, rather
So
than trying to bring everybody over.
I had to see a doctor every 2 weeks for almost 4 years with my job, because of the things that I would see.
Yeah.
And um he always said I was fairly normal. So I don't think there's anything real weird going on. But everybody's got their stuff. I
Right.
do, like I said, I enjoy the over top action. I really do. And you can go back and look at history for things like that. Like,
Hmm.
my first comic books were the black and white Ninja Turtles, which were hyper violent at the time period, and
Yeah.
even Transformers was hyper violent back then,
Yeah.
Um, there was just, the guys that we worshipped were Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
We were out in the yard with sticks like they were guns, and
Yep.
it's just no, I don't have any different like lifestyle stuff other than when I got to be an adult, and I worked a tough job, but other than that, we see things, but we can, and like April mentioned, we can put them into Commando's a great movie. But there's things that we take out of our lives that we put into the
Mhm.
stuff we write. I'm not saying I ever went and pulled a weird science and made a hot dinosaur chick in my basement or anything, but I'm not saying I
Not an
would if I
option.
couldn't have. If I could have done it, I probably had a hot dinosaur chick in my basement. You know what I mean? That'd have been really cool.
Yeah, weird science.
It was a great show and a great film. But no,
Oh, yeah, that was hot, dude.
oh my gosh. But there's a concept though where I think that we constantly want to create things that we wanted to see or we've wanted to partake in. So yeah, the action movies live on in ethereal comic books. The if you've ever watched the movie Seven, we've got a
Yeah.
great serial killer story in
Yeah.
ethereal. We've got your angels and well, not angels so much, but we've got our monsters and demons type of stories, and we've got
Yeah.
BGD is a very, even though it's very cyberpunk and stuff, it's real like gangster-esque type of stuff, with even though they're anthropomorphic dinosaurs and whatnot. That book is a very real take on my viewpoints. If you read between the lines on things that I touch on in that series, I think they're important. like I said, you can read it and never know I gave a shit about anything and still enjoy it, but
Because even with
Interesting.
your other book, Underland, right,
Mhm.
which is a twisted tale of Alice in Wonderland,
Mhm.
and a lot of people have redone that book, but
For sure.
you've taken like a really totally different
Yeah.
take on it,
Yeah.
and have really twisted.
Well,
it up.
so years and years ago, America McGee came out with his take
Oh yeah,
on Alice in Wonderland, and I
Yeah.
remember being enthralled with it. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, and as terrifying as it was still a gorgeous, and I couldn't even get through the game as a kid, right? Like, it was scary as stuff. Like, I couldn't even get through it. But I loved the artwork. I loved the world that he had created. And so
Yeah.
when we decided to sit down with Underland, I was like, I can't give people what they expect, because everything we put out is so very different. So I was like, there's nothing I can do that people have already done.
Mm.
Well, the first thing that they were like, what are you doing different? And I was like, well, first off, Alice is an Asian engineer in college. That's the first thing that we're doing, and they were like, well, that's way different. And I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
how we're going to start. That's how it's going. And then it was, well, who's the other main character? Well, we're going to make the Hatter a chick. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
the Hatter is not one person, it's a group of people. It's almost like being a gypsy. You know what I mean? They're travelers and stuff.
Right.
So, and she plays one of the main characters. And then they were like, well, and we'll throw some spoilers out there. What is the next issue? And I was like, I had a real hard time with the next issue, Mog. So it was not that I had a hard time writing it. I had a hard time not crossing boundaries that I've set for myself with it. And I remember just the other day when April and I were talking about it, how hard it was for me to. That's a great pinup in the Christmas book, actually. Absolutely love that.
Thank you.
But it does certain things scare me. I'll be honest with you. Certain things characters that I've written have scared me.
Yeah.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum terrify me. They absolutely terrify me.
Yeah.
Same thing with the character Wrath from Greed. I think Wrath is one of the scariest things I've ever written until we wrote Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And I remember going, there has to be a hard line with those characters. Like a hard line that I won't even pass,
Yeah.
What a fun cover, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God. They did such a good we had so many different styles for
Yeah.
that cover. Everyone had a different style that was very, very unique on that particular book, and we had fun with it. But it's very, there's a lot of things that break down the darkness in that book. The Hatter herself, she has the most fun, facial expressions, and just she's a very animated character, and Liara's Cross does an amazing job bringing her emotions to life in her face and stuff. But no, that book, it'll make you sweat, and I think that as adults, and when you pick up an ethereal book, what you're picking up. You have an idea of what to not the story, but you know what you're looking for. You're looking for the pretty girls, you're looking for the action, you're looking for the suspense, you're looking for good storytelling, and
Right. We're looking for we're looking for the hero's journey. We're looking for the white knight. We're looking, the damsel in distress, and so forth. Or in this case, these days, that damsel in distress thing could be in reverse.
Well,
well, that's what Frog Legs is. Frog Legs was my take on having a female Superman and a male Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that,
or like a male, what's her name, Lois Lane, in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of fun. I mean, showing people different types of archetypes and breaking the mold is so important. It's really important to break that mold because, like we were just talking about with Underland, so many people have done it. So many people have done it that it had to be different, like so drastically different.
Yeah, it had to be. And when what was it, Nightmare Before Christmas came out, I think that opened the door
For sure.
because that really opened up like or brought that genre more into the forefront
For
of
sure,
the
yeah.
pop culture, where it could be more acceptable. And ever since then, we've seen many similar stories along that same genre.
Absolutely. Well, now it's okay to play in the dark.
Yeah, now it's okay. It's okay to play in the dark. It's okay to like some of these weird monsters.
For sure.
or
Well, I
things
mean,
that
look
scare
at
us
what
in the dark.
McFarlane did, right?
Yeah.
The cover that you just saw for Underland definitely doesn't convey my description at all. He is a very happy artist. Okay. Like he is a very, very happy artist. And all his covers that you'll see from Ethereal are like that. They're all happy. You know what I mean? They're no one, again, we were talking about low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You can go into low hanging fruit and you could do something really scary on something. You know what I mean? Or you could do like Mog did on this last cover for Frog Legs. Most people focused on Celine. Everybody focused on Celine. But
that's
Bastion,
not the main though.
No, it is. But yeah, we knew that a lot of people were going to focus on Celine. So I told Maud, do whatever you want, but let's do the guy.
Yeah, and that's
not going to be much of that.
That blew it out of the park for me, right? Like I was like, hey, look, this is what we need to do. And as soon as we saw it, I was like, that's it, run with that because it's great. It's absolutely stunning. But it's stunning in a way that is very artistically beautiful and makes you think. And I enjoy that, so you're never when it comes to ethereal books, I try to keep people away from the low-hanging fruit. But you'll get that. You'll get I want to do the chicks because I'm a pinup artist. And that's cool. You know what I mean? That's cool. So you'll get your pinup artist artwork. But every now and then, it's really, really nice to throw in an artistic piece. You know what I mean? You want to get in somewhere that's different, that people don't see all the time.
We've talked about that because that's basically what we see out there. They're just pinup pieces, pinup covers now, a majority of the time, and not too much of the illustrated storytelling that's out there. So it's just now it's like who's got the better pinup, which a lot of times tends to be some sexy girl that's on the cover.
Yeah.
And it's for me, I'm just tired of it. So.
Well, and we've had that discussion as a company. We've literally had that discussion as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about how you said you're tired of seeing like just pinups are great, they're beautiful, but you said now you want something with more substance and
more substance, more
what I was
structure.
thinking about.
Yeah, man. Let's give people a story, right?
Exactly. It's the story. Yes.
Right.
I am a big fan of pinups. I'm a big fan of covers of all styles.
Yes.
But I like, and it's a big joke with a bunch of the artists because I'm a big fan of having them read the book. Read the book. You know what I mean? It may not be your cup of tea, but again, I give you free reign to do your cover. So if you can go in and pick like Adam Fields, for example, Adam Fields always reads every book that we put out before he does the cover. And he goes, for the last issue of The Listener, he did this amazing cover of corn stalks with the chupacabra eye behind the corn stalk.
Yes.
Because we talk about it in the book. And it was just such a cool concept to see it come up to life, on paper. And I think that when you do stuff like that, you draw people. It's cool. Look, I can draw boobs. That's great. But can I draw boobs in a sense that tell me something about boobs rather just the boobs? And it's a very with our company, it's something that we like a mix of everything. So it's like, if we get this, if we've got X amount of pinups, we need X amount of storytelling. You know,
Yeah.
it has to be a mix, because we do 12 to 14 covers per book. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah, it's good to have some variety in there
you
instead of
gotta.
seeing the
Oh my
same
gosh!
same
I joke with them.
layout.
I call it the artsy fartsy stuff. Let me get my artsy fartsy in, and then you guys can do whatever you want with everything else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just let me get a couple of them in, and I don't know. That's a good question.
That Frog Legs cover, Ilya, was Mog did the pencils on that, and I forgot the name of the colorist. Do you know who that is?
Maja.
April?
Maja did that one.
Okay,
Maja
there
did
you
the
go.
coloring in digital. So yeah.
So good. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm that guy that I am happy that I don't get to see it all, because when it comes in, it's like Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful, you know. But I think that, I don't know. For me, the one that I got that has inspired a story is actually JT Malloy. JT Malloy did a cover for Theater 7 where Penny is running down a hallway, and it's like she's got her soda and she's got her popcorn, she's running to the movie, and it's like she's going to be late. And that struck a nerve with me to write like a mini story about something like that. So we talked about the 6 additional pages, right?
Yeah.
So the 6 additional pages, I like to do more storytelling. So sometimes I'll do short stories.
Yeah.
Working with the book to introduce a character, you know, or I'll do a short story about, like, the last one we did with Theater 7 was literally about the ghost in the theater that's like haunting Penny, you know, and it was literally like 6 pages of the ghost just poking at Penny, you know, and it was fun because it wasn't so serious. It was just a lighthearted romp through the back of the book, you know. But we had not shown the ghost before. So it was an interesting concept to work with just the confines of 6 pages to talk about a character that's going to be a huge factor in this book. But yeah, so I ran with JT's cover, and I was like, man, look, we could do something really fun with her running through the hallways of, the theater, and like, I put it down on paper a little bit, but it was literally like she's running through, and as she's running through, all the marquee posters are like coming to life or looking at her or, talking to her as she's running through the theater.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a lot of fun.
And okay, so we've got. I'm going to answer some of the things that are coming up on here. That's right. Dustin still has his Kickstarter running on Frog Legs, already fully funded with 11 days left. Check that out. Mog's got a cover on there along with a bunch of people. Yeah, you'll see on a lot of Ethereal Kickstarters, they're running a lot of covers on there, 12 to 14. And these people are hungry to get more work, so we expect to see a lot more from Ethereal. Their goal is to run 3 books by the end of the year. So
2 books a month right now, 3 books by the end of the year.
There you go. That's a very, very aggressive, but he seems to be on the ball with it, keeping track with it all. Let's see. JD says, I have a friend who's a pinup model. I had no idea there were full pinup style photo magazines still. Holy crud. JD.
What?
So we also do cosplay covers.
Yeah. You've seen that. And there's some really good cosplayers that you have there. Let's see, the cover for Wonderland doesn't convey a description of the story, Dustin.
Yeah, that was about the
Underland.
I would love to be a damsel. Yeah, okay. I did like Cowboys and Aliens, Stevie. I was hoping that they were going to do a sequel to that. If you look into it, I think they got the idea from all that stuff that came out on Ancient Aliens, because they did have an episode on there about aliens and the westerns.
Yeah, they had this like newspaper article during the 1920s or something.
40s or
and then
I forget.
No,
1900s.
They had like clippings of like in this town where they saw UFO sightings and they made the news. And I think that someone else, whoever watched that, maybe took the idea and created the.
Yeah, but
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
Yeah,
we all
there's
come.
There's
We
a
all
lot
come
of
confused.
stuff that's coming from that ancient alien stuff, or at least information they've released that seems like Hollywood has known about and has incorporated into a lot of the movies that they.
Well, look at
Yes.
Tom DeLonge, right? So Tom DeLonge comes out from Blink 182, and he's like, "I'm going to spend all my money on proving that aliens are real," right? So he spends all this money. He gets that guy, what is it, the naval captain out of Jacksonville, Indians Jacks, to release that video of them actually seeing a UFO off the coast.
That's one off of San Diego that they called the. What did they call it?
It's a
PIP or
hotspot.
something like that.
There's a hotspot in San Diego, and I think there's one in Texas. They even created a rest stop for it. Oh yes.
Where you can go and watch it. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So I was hoping to see more of
Ilya
that.
said Cowboys and Aliens was a graphic novel.
Right. Started as a graphic novel.
And he said also, April, your color work is awesome.
Thank you.
Well, let me tell you a little secret about April. April's a pro, like an actual pro, and used to work with DC Comics and stuff. So she definitely knows what she's doing when it comes to colors and your RGB scale and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very,
I
very
was
good.
a color separator, not an actual colorist.
I see. So that gave you a good understanding of colors.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how.
Well, they taught me how to use Photoshop.
there you go.
Nice.
Okay. And now you're going traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
But
why
we do
April,
have a bid on that for $30. So if you'd like to place a bid, we will accept them at $35 or higher. And Mog has finished her Sin City Nancy Callahan. We do have a bid of that on for $25, and we are looking for bids of $30 or a bidder on that. And then finally, for the Babe Doors and Dinosaur, Mog has that she's working on. We're looking still open for an opening bid of $150 on that.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, we'll take a break, and we will be right back.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite new show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
All right. Thanks again for coming back
Hola.
to sketch up on the experience. If you're looking for more original artwork, make sure you watch Nick Bellucci, the founder of Dynamite. He'll be on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Right, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so we can get our accounts up there.
And also, good news, didn't we make 1,500?
Yeah, I think we did.
I'm sorry. Yes, we did. We hit 1,500 subscribers on YouTube.
Thank you.
So starting Monday on select shows, we'll be tossing out one of the 15 slabbed books that will be given away in celebration.
There you go. So we owe it all to you guys out there for hitting that thumbs up and spread the word out there, and so that way we can build it up and maybe pass some other goodies out there to everyone. Let's talk. Let's go to April now. April.
Yes, April.
We kind of talked about you towards the end of the last segment before we went on break. That you were color separation.
Yeah.
Color separator, yeah. Like, so I was still in high school.
Well, so then Stevie B asks, what does a color separator actually do? And at what stage of the process does the job take place? Before or after the Kirby crackle?
We actually helped make the Kirby crackle a success. You have your penciler, your inker, and then you have a colorist who takes like a black and white, kind of like a coloring page, like a Xerox copy, and they throw in the colors like Superman's baby blues and reds and where they're supposed to be at. And when that's just giving us the light source and what's actually supposed to be what, and as far as color goes. And sorry, I'm trying to help with the light, but it's not.
Is that something you did at home, or did you have to go into an office?
Well, so I worked for them from 1999 to 2001, and this is before, cell phones were really a thing. This is before people had like reliable internet, blah, 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 blah. So I actually was working at an office in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, which I just cannot believe that it actually existed.
Which part?
And
because you're in Arizona now, right?
Illinois.
No, I moved to Texas about 4 years ago.
Oh,
so
okay, you're in Texas, okay.
Yeah. But I was slumming it in Arizona for a while. But yeah, so I worked as a independent contractor for Heroic Age Studios as an independent colorist for about 2 years. And we took those pages and interpreted the color that they were asking for into Photoshop so that it was print ready whenever they were making the issues, and just better print quality. I don't know. It really was an important step in the comic book process. But it was the last step, aside from getting it all stitched together and off to the printers. So this is not quite Jabum, Iowa, but pretty close. So we had done books for several of the major titles for DC, JLA, JSA, Teen Titans. There was Stars and Stripe, Our Man. I don't know, just a lot of the mainstream books. I think we had Wonder Woman there right before I departed to move to Arizona. I don't know. It was a very amazing job. They actually taught me about comic books, took me to my first comic book shop, my first convention, taught me who Stan Lee was, because they were saying it and I thought it was just one word, like his first name. I was just like, Stanley who? We all start somewhere. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, now you're working with the Stan Lee of Ethereal Comics right there. with Dustin.
I don't know about that. I'm something, but I don't know what it is just yet.
Right. So yeah, it was awesome. I wound up moving from Illinois to Arizona and going to school at ASU. But once I got my degree in art, I was like, well, now what? And I wound up talking with Tess Fowler like 2 o'clock in the morning at the Mesa Marriott at Cactus Con. That was what it was called before Phoenix Phoenix Comic Con became the name. And she's just
Huge
like,
show.
well, you already love comic books. Why don't you just become a comic book artist? And I just sat on it for like 2 weeks and just couldn't sleep. And I just couldn't. I was like, I don't know how to get started. I didn't realize that was an option. How do I do this? And it just kind of evolved into like the most amazing experience I've ever had. Like, I can't imagine doing anything else. So
Yeah, you know what? I find like there's a lot of artists like that.
Yeah.
Like even this new guy that we're bringing to Las Vegas, exact same question. I don't know how to get started.
Yeah.
Even though he's
It's
gone
so
to like
vast.
school, he's doing some work already, but it's not in the comics industry.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Mog. I met her when she was just fresh out of her college, and she was doing manga, and she kind of knew how to go in that route,
Uh-huh.
but it was a direction that didn't pan out, right? So luckily
Right.
I was there. I kind of like stepped in and guided her, and we got into it, right? But everybody else, all the other artists, like Anvu, Lewis kind of was going in that direction. An was the same thing. She was asking, she didn't know how to get started. I was bugging her and telling her, whenever you're ready, you let me know, and I can look
Mhm.
you up and get jobs right away, right? And I think I waited for like 2 years when she finally called me. I was actually at MegaCon, and where I met Dustin for the first time, and we were walking to dinner, and she calls me up out of the blue, and she goes, "Hey Mel, I think I'm ready to get started." I go,
Mhm.
"Get ready to start what?" I want to do I want to do art in comics, because she was going into cybersecurity at the time, and
Oh, wow.
she got her degree and everything. I go,
Right.
and she said she's going to try to get a job, but there was these, there's a bunch of things, that other steps that you got to take in order to get that kind of a job.
Yeah.
So I thought that's where she was going to go, right? So to get
Uh-huh.
that phone call, to get that phone call was a surprise to me. But that same night that she called me up, I got her 3 gigs to do 3 covers.
There you
Wow.
go.
No,
Well, see,
and
she's one of those people that I look at as raw talent. She's
Mhm.
very, very talented, and
Mhm.
taking that. So a bunch of these artists come in, and you look at them, and they're these beautiful stones, right? They're beautiful stones, and you just have to work the stone until it fits the filigree that it needs to go into. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
it's kind of like what you said earlier. You look at them and see there's the potential.
for sure,
So there's things that I look for, and the first thing I always look for is passion, right? Because
you know,
you got to have something that's going to drive you, and usually it's passion. And
Mhm.
with that passion, there comes a little bit of stupidity, because you don't want to give up, right? So
right.
it's a good thing that I'm looking for, that stupidity, that you don't want to give up.
Yeah, I'm stubborn. You can't make me quit.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you're going to be persistent, but you're going to be persistent in a good way. You're going to
Mhm.
you're going to listen to advice. You're going to make corrections and improve, that you see, or that we guide you to. Same thing with like Lewis. We met Lewis at a con. He approached me actually, and didn't know he was an artist, but he was buying posters that
Right.
are coming at this con. And he told me, then he told us that he does art. So we're looking at his stuff. He actually did one cover before, but that didn't go through, and he was trying to do like a bunch of other stuff, right? But he was able to do 1,000 blank sketch covers in that year, and I go, damn,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Why do you want to get work through me? I can't give you that much.
Right.
But that was kind of like a fluke at that time. He hasn't been able to repeat that, but he's doing good now.
I think when it comes to
another
him,
person that has the passion.
he's very passionate and very, very talented. I think you said something a minute ago that caught my attention. You've probably told me this already, or Mog has told me, but I've forgotten that Mog worked in manga. Because we have a project coming up called My Metal Girl.
You're right. And actually, I was going to talk to you about that later, not here, but
yeah, no, you're good. I'm just really excited about it because again,
she's already on it.
They don't fill me in on everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, the trio is already on My Metal Girl.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that book. Ugh,
yes,
I got the next one. That's one I wanted to talk to you about, Dustin, because I got one artist I think that could do that Metal Girl for you as well. But we'll talk about that later. But anyway,
I think we have to answer some questions. First of all, Ilya, you said, am I going to add any colors? No, for this one, it's going to be mainly like this neutral colored gray tone. Like you think this is like a very bright color, but it's a very neutral grayish brown. So this is more of a tonal painting sketch. And then Ilya really had to know, like, your like, will this get a discount if you stain something? So where's that sandwich? So no, you can't. But the thing is, there's no stain on it yet. And what's in the content of the sandwich he ate? I think it's a lot of weird stuff.
That was that's actually a chicken salad sandwich. So nothing really. I don't think it's anything special, but it's something that my mom used to feed me, and it's something that I haven't had in a long time. And Mog asked me for something to snack on today, and then we had a little bit of chicken, so I made that. So it's just chicken, mayo, mustard, some seasoning, lettuce, onions, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's good though. I like it.
But also, it's really cool, Dustin, and his Mel coffee using? No, we're not using. But
I could drop some blood on it.
But back to the thing, I like seriously. We were just talking about this yesterday, Dustin. Me and Mel was asking, man, if you never met me, what would you have done? And I would say I'd probably be living in the streets, but I don't know what under a cave. But seriously, it sucks as an artist because you can develop all the skill you want in your house basement, but that from there to getting a gig is like the greatest mystery, black hole, whatever you call it. It's like the unknown. You're going into a deep dive into a black hole, and there is no like structured way, and that really, really sucks.
For sure. As a writer, it's like that too.
Right time.
You know what I mean? I literally, if I had not been pushed, I probably would have been in the same boat. You know what I mean? I would have probably gone back to corporate America or something, and that's where I would have stayed because I was scared to death, first off, to put out a book, period. And then trying to find a publisher that was going to, work with us. I hired a manager my first year. My first year I hired a manager, and he was $1,000 a month. And hired him, and I was only making like $450 a month writing.
Wow.
And he was like, well, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and da. He just kept telling me all these things, and none of it ever panned out. And I still for like 5 months I kept paying this guy $1,000 a month, and nothing ever panned out. And I reached out to a couple folks that I knew in the industry, and I was like, hey, look, what am I doing wrong?
Exactly.
And the first thing that they said was, what you do is you do all these live shows and you do the streams and all this other stuff, but your name is still not known. You're again going after the low hanging fruit. You're putting your face places, but they're not places people are.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. You know what I mean? I guess I need to be. What did the Little Mermaid say? Where all the people are. You know what I mean? That's where I needed to be. So I started endeavoring to make it time to. If I knew that a buddy of mine that was going to be at a show, it was a large show. Like if they were headlining a show, I would make sure that I was there. You know, I was like, hey, look. I'd tell my wife, hey, look, I got to take 2 or 3 days and I got to go to MegaCon or I got to go to, Planet Comic Con or I got to go to, Emerald City or I got to go wherever because we've got friends there and our friends there will be, talk about the product with people and stuff. So, and then I realized that I was right. The books that I wanted to push so hard at that time was The Listener. And it was near and dear to my heart. Well, then I decided to write Greed, and people started paying attention. Greed was more interesting than Native American stuff to folks. You know what I mean? So, which maybe one day that book will pop off. Maybe. I'm not holding my breath, but whatever. You know what I mean? It still makes me happy to write it. It still makes me happy to produce it. And but when Greed came out, folks were like, "Oh, well, we'll pay attention," And then BGD came out, and a lot of it has to do with, are you filling a hole? As a writer, are you filling a hole? As an artist, it's much more difficult because there are a million people doing art. You know what I mean? But as a writer, you're literally going, did someone else put that out? Has that come out in the last 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, and what am I going to do different? And I just started pushing things. If it hops came out after BGD, and if it hops banged, you know what I mean? Then the next real big one for us after that was Fallen Leaves. And, people were like, well, you're doing a fantasy. Is that your wheelhouse? The funny thing about Fallen Leaves is fantasy is my wheelhouse. I used to sell D&D campaigns for a profit for many, many, many years, and so hopping back into fantasy was something that I was real easy. And it's funny you guys use the Mitch Massey cover. He's amazing. He's just, but he, another huge name, speaking of Mitch Massey and Devin Massey, is Dan Kemp. Dan Kemp works with us dang near exclusively, and his stuff's stunning.
You've got a stalker now, April. Stevie B is on you.
Hey, man.
Very good.
Love now. Oh no.
April has great fans, man. Her fans are so
you're on April. You're still on Artist Alley Shopping Network, right?
I am. I have a Tuesday morning show from 10 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. So it's awfully early for you guys.
Yeah, it is. I see you on there once in a while. It's like I've got like my wakey eyes. And oh man, she's on.
Gonna sleep out. Just who is that already?
So you can check her out there, Stevie B, and everybody else.
No, don't check her out. Stop her there.
On Tuesdays at 10. Yeah.
Well, you can also, if you join Ethereal has a weird thing. Instead of doing a page, I did a group first because I was ignorant and didn't know what I was doing. And I made a group first, and the group's open to anyone. But we all post there. We all get in, we all throw art in there and stuff. And even now and then you'll see them post stuff that I haven't posted yet. So, follow. Make sure you guys jump on Ethereal's group if you want to see anything new. We post religiously.
All right. And that's an open group that
absolutely. Yeah. Anybody can join that group. And I always put Mog stuff in there. I put Andrew stuff in there, Lewis's stuff. That's the first place. Other than my personal page, which is open as well, you guys can follow me on that or whatever. But I'm always posting daily because I like to get in trouble with April and Joseph and do things I'm not supposed to. But because I can't help it, the art comes in and it's beautiful, and that's why I don't get to see it till later. But it's a lot of fun, man. It's a good time. Everybody's real cool. The admins are great, but you'll get to see unfiltered work. I don't edit the photos that we put in the group page. And Instagram's the same way. You, Ethereal Comics or Ethereal Publishing on Instagram. You know, all of our unedited pieces are on there. So if you're looking for the wild covers, you can definitely find those on Instagram.
So you got Frog Legs ending in about 11 days. What's your next? What's your next two after that?
BGD starts next Friday.
Okay.
For pre-orders for that, and then what are we? Theater 7 after that.
Oh yeah, Theater 7.
Okay.
Yeah, Theater 7 issue 2 is after that, and yeah, Theater 7 is about Penny. Penny is in the 90s. She's a young chick that gets a job at a theater and finds out the theater is haunted, and she starts getting sucked into movies from the 90s.
Yeah, that's what makes it kind of like fun, is that you use that format to bring in so many different genres that could tie into the movies.
So much fun.
Right.
What
shows will you be going to now?
So right now we're doing Back to the Future, and it's called Return to the Future. I know it was an 80s movie and not a 90s movie, but at the same time,
movie.
There's a point. It's one of her favorite films, and that's how she got the job at the theater, yada yada. But the next one's called.
Oh no, go ahead.
The next one is Big Snake, which is our take on Anaconda. So
that's what came to mind when I heard you say Big Snake.
Oh, really? Are you gonna have the last page again? The guy, take his clothes off.
You'll see.
We'll see. And what about shows? What shows will you be going to?
So when it comes to shows this year, like you mean us, like going to, or for the book?
For anything ethereal or
this year this year is a building year for us. Outside of what we're doing with you guys, we aren't doing a lot because I am going to do a book a month was a huge feat for an indie company. Yeah. Right now, there are very few companies doing a book a month, and even the big names in the indie community. So I was like, when we decided to do 2 books a month, we knew that it was going to be a big deal, So deciding to do that was such a huge factor because we're always looking to improve the artist lifestyles. We're improving the way that we do products, whatever else. And then Joseph was like, hey, we need to do 3 a month. If we're going to be competitive with the big boys, we need to do 3 a month. And I was like...
So it's Joseph I need to hang up by his earlobes.
So I was like, okay, well, let's do 3 a month, So, but we all knew that it would take time and it would take work. It was not going to be something that just happened overnight.
Yeah.
And so we're all moving slowly toward this goal. So we're looking to do, maybe 1 or 2 shows, but outside of that, it's all about investing in this growth, because right now I think building the company is so important, and doing shows is important. But right now, what you look at when you're putting this company together right now, if you look at your expenses, it's a lot to do a book a month. It's double that to do 2 books a month. Then you get into 3 books.
Yeah.
You're talking like $18,000 a month just in production. So it becomes this like juggling till you figure out what drops when. You figure out your schedule and all that jazz, which April is incredible about, and keeping everybody on task and their dates and timelines and all that. Yeah. But there comes this time where I needed to sit and evaluate not only where we were going as a business and how we would get there, but I wanted to write enough to keep up with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to be able to put out 3 books a month, I literally have got to be able to write enough to put out 3 books a month. And
it looks like you're doing that, and because we see, because we're not officially part of your team, but we're kind of like, we are working together. And so, guys, if you guys make sure you check out Ethereal Comics, so follow them closely, jump on their books, give them the support.
Yes, please.
They're in this for the long haul. They've got a great growth happening right now. So it's a good time to get in on it. And stay tuned, because we're out of time right now, but we will definitely want to have the Dustin and crew back here probably before the year is over, so we can talk more and see where they're going. If you follow his books, you'll see a lot of work from Mog and some of the other artists that Mog and I work with as well. And thank you everyone for being on the show. We got a bid on If It Hops, and we got a bid on the Sin City. Thank you guys very much for that.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week, Thursday. Wait, I think we're on next week, Thursday. Even though we're not
we have
on.
a show.
Okay, yeah, we won't be on here for the next 3 weeks because of the shows that we got coming up, and but we'll be back after that in 3 weeks. So don't go away too fast, but we'll see you back then. All right? Thank you guys.
Right on. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.